looks at you the way Stephanie White looks at Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner. Get somebody to spend the rest of your life with who defends you the way Stephanie White defends Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner. And
a coach who lights up for one player, but goes completely quiet for another. That's the vibe we're getting here, and it's not just talk. Watch the actual clips, and the difference in how this coach handles her own players jumps right out at you. Let's break down what actually went down. Alyssa Thomas says she got hit with death threats and nasty comments online. Stephanie White? She's on the mic within hours, calling a press conference, standing up for her player. Now flip the script. Caitlin Clark had a real stalker, arrested right outside her own home. A genuine safety scare. And Stephanie White's response? Nothing. No press conference. No statement. Not even a quick tweet saying, "We've got your back." Just silence.
Where Sophie Cunningham had a stalker arrested and she didn't even say anything? Get somebody who looks at you the way Stephanie White looks at Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner. Do we even want to hear what Stephanie White has to say? Before we get into that, no Caitlin Clark today, out with the back. She's doing individual workouts and Sophie Cunningham is still homesick, folks.
And here's the wild part. This same press conference is where Stephanie White stands up and lectures the whole league about toxicity. But look closer at how she frames it. This isn't just her defending one player. This is her drawing a line, deciding, out loud, who gets protected and who doesn't. So let's rewind, because the timeline here tells the real story. Sophie Cunningham plays for the Indiana Fever, had a stalker situation so serious that police had to step in. This wasn't some mean comments online. This was a real, physical threat. Law enforcement involved. And this happened weeks before that press conference. Stephanie White is Sophie's head coach. She had every chance to speak up about player safety then. She said nothing. But the moment Alyssa Thomas gets some online criticism, suddenly White is sprinting to the nearest microphone.
What's going on with AT? I think first and foremost, it's absolutely unacceptable. I think as a league, as a whole, there's been so much more toxicity, racism, homophobia, straight out like nonsense, hate nonsense. And it's
Since when? Since when, Stephanie? Oh, we can read between the lines. And who are you attributing that to? Oh, we can read between the lines. But continue.
Now here's the part you really need to pay attention to. Stephanie White starts talking about toxicity, racism, homophobia in the league, and says it all started since, and then stops. She doesn't finish the sentence. But we all know where that sentence was going. Since Caitlin Clark showed up. She never says the name. She doesn't have to. The implication is right there. And think about what that actually means. She's basically saying the record ratings, the sold-out arenas, the mainstream cameras finally pointing at the WNBA, all of that came packaged with toxicity. Like you can't have one without the other. Like growth and abuse are just a package deal.
Damn, so you guys are worried about the online community. Okay.
In my heart of hearts, I believe, not coming from WNBA fans, Indiana Fever fans, I believe that this is people who are using our league, using our players to further divisive agendas.
Not WNBA fans.
Then comes the real twist. White says most of the toxicity comes from online people, and she believes, deep down, it's not real WNBA fans, not real Fever fans doing it. So wait, if it's not WNBA fans, and it's not Fever fans, who's left? You already know who she means. Caitlin Clark's fans. The new crowd. The people who tuned in because of her, bought the tickets, packed the arenas, and pushed ratings higher than the league had ever seen. More money in one season than the previous 5 years combined. Those are the fans getting blamed here. Not the players who spent months throwing shade at Clark. Not the writers who questioned if she even deserved the hype. Not the coaches who watched their players take cheap shots and said nothing. Nope. The people getting blamed are the fans who simply stood up for her.
Basketball game. And AT was exactly right. Like, we get to play a basketball game. And yes, that's going to come with criticism. Yes, that's going to come with fans and the love-hate relationship that they have with players and teams. That is going to come. But it's not hard to not be a jerk. And if you are one of these people that are online doing this, do not call yourself a WNBA fan.
Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Not every player gets the same coach. Some get protected, some get ignored. And once you actually watch the tape, this isn't a theory anymore. It's a pattern, plain as day. Let's set the scene properly, because the timeline is everything here. Weeks before any of this blew up, Sophie Cunningham, a player on Stephanie White's own roster, had a stalker situation so serious it needed police involvement. Real danger, real fear, a genuine safety threat, not just words on a screen. Stephanie White's response: silence. No press conference. No public statement. Nothing. Then Alyssa Thomas says she's been getting ugly comments online, and suddenly White is standing at a podium calling a full press conference to defend her. Same coach, same team, two completely different reactions. And this is the same press conference where White decides to lecture the entire league about toxicity, right as she catches herself mid-sentence, about to say when all this toxicity supposedly started. She stops just short of naming Caitlin Clark. She doesn't have to. Everyone in the room already knows where that sentence was going. Think about the message buried in that pause. She's implying that all the growth Clark brought, the record ratings, the sold-out arenas, the mainstream cameras finally pointing at the WNBA, came bundled with toxicity, like the two are impossible to separate. Like you can't have success without accepting abuse as the cost of admission. Then she goes further. She claims most of this toxicity isn't coming from real WNBA fans, and definitely not from real Fever fans. So who's left? Who exactly is she pointing at? You already know. The new fans. The ones who showed up because of Clark, bought the tickets, packed the arenas, and helped the league bring in more revenue in one season than the previous 5 combined. Those are the people getting blamed. Not the veteran players who spent months throwing subtle shade at a rookie. Not the writers who questioned whether she even deserved the hype. Not the coaches who watched their players take cheap shots and stayed quiet. No, the fans who simply stood up for her are the ones labeled toxic. And here's where White tries to grab the moral high ground, saying it's not hard to just not be a jerk, and that if you're spreading hate online, you shouldn't even call yourself a real fan. Which is a strange thing to say from a coach whose own locker room has produced exactly the kind of behavior she's now condemning. But let's play fair and take her seriously for a second. Let's say she genuinely believes threats and harassment against players are unacceptable. Fine. Then explain the gap. Why does Alyssa Thomas get a press conference, while Sophie Cunningham doesn't even get a mention? Why does Clark having an actual stalker arrested at her home not warrant a single sentence from her own coach? The answer isn't complicated. It's just uncomfortable. White's concern for player safety depends entirely on which player is involved. She talks about the league being about inclusiveness, about elevating women, elevating marginalized communities. Beautiful words. But look at who actually fits that description right now inside the WNBA. It's not the veterans who already have full backing from coaches, media, and league officials. It's the rookie taking hits that never get called, getting mocked by opposing players and coaches, watching her own fan base get dismissed as not real fans, while her legitimate safety concerns are brushed aside so everyone can rush to defend her critics instead. If we're being honest about who's actually marginalized in this league right now, it's her. And White isn't interested in lifting her up. Not even a little. Then White claims the league will keep holding itself to a higher standard, keep supporting one another collectively, players, coaches, staff. Except that's simply not true. The league didn't step up when Clark was absorbing dangerous, uncalled physical play. It didn't step up when veterans took shots at her in interviews. It didn't step up when coaches made snide comments about her fan base. And White personally didn't step up when her own player had a stalker. This was never about collective support. It's selective support, support that depends entirely on who fits the story she wants to tell. There's also a moment during the press conference where a reporter, from the outlet that regularly covers her own team, asks whether Alyssa Thomas really didn't hear from the league about the threats. White snaps back, calling the question dishonest, pointing out it had already been reported that the league reached out to Thomas. Fair point, maybe. But now picture a different question. Picture a reporter asking why she stayed silent on Sophie Cunningham's stalker, or why she said nothing about Clark's situation. Do you really think she answers that one? Or does that question get labeled dishonest too? The double standard doesn't hide well. It shows up in real time, depending entirely on whose name is in the question. Zoom out. And this isn't just one press conference. It's been building all season. From the moment Clark stepped into the league, there's been a steady effort to shrink her, to question whether she's earned any of it. It started with comments that she hadn't proven anything yet. Then it turned physical, flagrant fouls that went uncalled, cheap shots after the whistle, opposing players celebrating when she got hurt. And through every bit of it, where were the coaches? Where were the league officials? Where were the people now lecturing everyone about respect and safety? Silent. Or worse, part of the problem, coaches tossing out passive-aggressive digs about her fan base, players mocking her online, writers publishing pieces questioning if her popularity was even good for the sport. And the moment fans pushed back, defended her, called out the obvious bias, suddenly they became the villains needing a lecture on inclusiveness. White is right about one thing, actually. Toxicity in the league has gone up this season. She's just pointing the finger in the wrong direction. It's not coming from Clark's fans. It's coming from inside the league, from players who can't stand being outshined by a rookie, from coaches uncomfortable with attention that exposes how the league was undersold for years, from voices more interested in guarding veterans' feelings than protecting the safety of their biggest breakout star. That's the real threat to this league's growth. Not new fans. Not people calling out bad officiating. Not viewers who arrive because of one player and stayed because they love the game now too. Think about what White is actually saying when you strip away the diplomatic language. She's saying mean tweets aimed at a veteran deserve a press conference, but an actual stalker arrest for a rookie deserves nothing. She's saying defending established players from criticism matters more than protecting a rookie from dangerous physical play on the court. She's saying the fans who drove record-breaking ratings and revenue somehow don't count as real fans. That's not leadership. That's picking sides and dressing it up in the language of fairness to make it sound noble. And here's the part that really stings. White used to be exactly the kind of player who'd have appreciated this. A shooter, a floor general, someone who understood what it means to lift a team through pure individual talent. But now, from the sideline, she seems more interested in protecting the old guard than embracing the biggest thing to happen to this league in decades. That's a choice, not a rule, not a league value, a personal one. So ask the real question. What does women's basketball actually want? Growth, mainstream eyes, financial stability, better pay and conditions for every player in the league? Or a comfortable, quiet bubble where nobody gets challenged and every uncomfortable question gets labeled toxic? Because you cannot have both. You can't chase the spotlight and then get upset when the spotlight brings expectations. Clark brought millions of new eyes to this sport in 6 months, more than any marketing campaign managed in 25 years. And instead of embracing it, coaches like White have spent their time questioning whether those new fans even belong. That's not a missed opportunity. That's sabotage from the inside. So next time someone talks about inclusiveness, ask who's actually being included and who's quietly being left out in the cold. If this story made you see the double standard for what it really is, don't just scroll past it. Like the video, drop your take in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown, because this story is far from over.